Chapter 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Knock, knock, Locke, are you up yet? Marion asked me to call you down for breakfast. Right away. Locke had gotten up and was sitting by the bed in a daze. During this period, he would be in a daze like this every morning. When he heard the crisp sound outside the door, his expression tightened. After hesitating for a while, he said again, "Thank you, Hannah." There was silence outside the door, and then light footsteps sounded, and the girl's muttering could be heard vaguely, "I'm not used to saying thank you." Locke smiled bitterly. Even 14-year-old Hannah could find his abnormality, let alone other people. It was really embarrassing for his profession. That's right, Locke is a time traveler. In his previous life, he was a Chinese, also called Locke, and his surname was Li. When he was 6 years old, his parents died in a major car accident. After his relatives helped to deal with his parents' funeral, they kindly sent him to an orphanage. Because of his talent, he didn't stay in the orphanage for long, and was soon adopted by a kind-hearted couple with blonde hair and blue eyes. After he was taken away from China, the couple immediately sold him, and then he was sent to a fully closed boarding school, where there were hundreds of orphans from different countries, races and skin colors like him. The school belonged to a mysterious organization. Under the organization's training, Locke mastered many skills, passed layers of screening, and finally graduated successfully. According to the test evaluation, Locke was assigned to the logistics team and became a scavenger who could only survive in the gray world, mainly responsible for cleaning up the scene, destroying the body, or faking the cause of death, so that the death was turned from homicide to accident. In the last mission, he didn't expect that a time bomb was installed in the villa, and he and the villa were blown to pieces. Recalling his own death, Locke had a calm face. In more than 10 years of scavenger career, he saw the most corpses. He had long been accustomed to the darkness of human nature and was tired of being controlled and living in the dark. Death was more like a relief for him. He even knew that the explosion in the villa was not an accident, it was just because he knew too much. In front of the mirror, Locke stared at his face while brushing his teeth. It had been more than 10 days, but he was still a little uncomfortable. Compared with the gloomy and pale face of the public before, this face was too handsome. Black slightly curly hair, deep blue eyes, delicate and three-dimensional facial features, handsome and sunny, a complete brat. Locke, who had completely read the original owner's memory, naturally knew that the original owner was not a brat. On the contrary, the original owner was a complete villain and a jerk, with a violent temper. Often saying, "fuck," fighting was a basic operation, and he advocated speaking with fists. This is why his family felt that he seemed to have changed, because he was a cautious and sultry type, which was completely different from the original owner's personality. It was too difficult to act, so he simply pretended to be silent. Fortunately, the original owner, a Los Angeles patrolman, had just experienced the first gunfight in his police career, killing 2 drug dealers with a complete set of American IAI, and was on mandatory administrative leave. His abnormality was taken for granted by his family as psychological trauma after murder, and his personality changes were regarded as sequelae of psychological trauma. In fact, the time travel did not take Locke so long to adapt, and what really made him difficult to accept was this. Locke sighed at himself in the mirror, and his heart moved, and a simple panel immediately appeared in front of him. Light of Justice, Police System 2.0, Host, Rock Lee, Level, 1. Strength, 9, Human Peak 20, Speed, 9, Human Peak 20, Endurance, 9, Human Peak 20, Spirit, 7, Human Peak 20, Skills Mastered, Pistol, L0 Entry, Rifle, L0 Entry, Mixed Martial Arts, L1 Proficient, Car Driving, L1 Proficient, Chinese, L1 Proficient, Rugby, L2 Proficient, Mating, L2 Proficient, Swimming, L1 Proficient, Justice Value, 500. Attribute Points, 1. Cards, Experience Card, Car Driving, 5 years of experience, Pistol Use, 5 years of experience, Function Card, Bullet Avoidance Card, Learning Card, Spanish, 5 years of experience. After killing 2 drug dealers, the original owner was also hit by the out-of-control vehicle and fell into a coma. Fortunately, his physical fitness was first class, and he only had a slight concussion and woke up in the hospital soon. Well, of course, it was Locke who woke up, just when Locke was at a loss. not knowing how to deal with his family, this panel appeared in front of him, and he continued to faint. At first, Locke even suspected that he was being experimented on by aliens. After repeated attempts and research, he found that this panel can only be seen by him, and it seems that it has no wisdom and cannot answer his questions. Through this period of exploration and understanding of the original owner, Locke finally understood the function of this panel. Now the level is 1, which means that it can be upgraded. The 4 attributes refer to his physical fitness. This data can be summarized in 8 words: well-developed limbs and simple mind. The skills that have been mastered are more intuitive, that is, what he can do. The level is very low, a complete student, except for football. Only mating is L2. Well, by reading the memory, Locke knows how this L2 came from. This is the original owner who has been working hard day and night since high school. The ancestors were right. It is true that diligence can make up for shortcomings. Other justice values, attribute points, cards, etc. should be rewards for shooting drug dealers before. Locke speculated that he should be able to use these rewards, but he didn't dare to try them easily. Through this panel, Locke has a more intuitive understanding of his physical fitness. For example, the 4 attributes should refer to the comprehensive physiological signs of humans, referring to the panel data. Locke finally understood why the original owner could only play as a substitute in the football team. After entering the university, the original owner's black teammates who were as strong and tall as chimpanzees were far superior to him in strength, speed, and endurance, and their attribute data were definitely more than 10. There was no way. The physique of black people has always been the best among all races. Otherwise, at a certain period, they would not be used as the main labor force. However, his physique is only 9, and ordinary normal people would probably be lower than 8. In terms of mental attributes, the original owner should be stronger than those teammates, but probably not much stronger. The core of mental attributes is IQ. Locke is a little embarrassed for the original owner. After all, he is Chinese, but he did not inherit the best genes of the Chinese. The original owner, Locke Lee, is a Chinese-American mixed race. His father Todd, a Chinese namely Bo, is an international student from China. His mother Marion Locke is a German-American, a blonde and blue-eyed Germanic. Both are alumni of Yale University. From the appearance point of view, in addition to the black hair that is unique to Chinese people, Locke inherited more maternal genes. Locke has a strong frame, is 1.92 meters tall, and weighs 102 kilograms. His body shape is more like that of Westerners, but he does not have the rough pores and strong body odor of Westerners. This saves him money and makes him more popular, making his nickname of human aphrodisiac more worthy of his name. Locke was selected to join the school football team because of his tall stature that was different from his peers in high school, and was admitted to UCLA, University of California, Los Angeles, because of his football talent. UCLA, however, after entering college, his physical talent was crushed by the black people on the same team, and he eventually became a substitute. He completely withdrew from the team in his junior year and began to lose weight. He barely got his diploma in college by majoring in Chinese language and culture. UCLA football team. After graduating from college, Locke successfully entered the Los Angeles Police Department. He had a great advantage with a UCLA diploma. Although UCLA is not an Ivy League school, it is a well-known school in the United States, ranking in the top 20, while LAPD only requires a high school degree. After 12 weeks of training, Locke successfully passed the assessment and became a trainee patrolman at the Wilshire Police Station of the West Branch of the Los Angeles Police Department. A first-level police officer, also known as a rookie policeman. The probation period for rookie policeman is usually 18 months. Once they pass the probation period, they will be promoted to second-level police officers. Strictly speaking, second-level police officers are the real LAPD, with independent law enforcement powers and protected by the police union. Locke thought about not being a policeman. After all, in the happy America, gunfights are every day, and he is used to living on the edge of a knife. The sudden gunfight 2 weeks ago shows how high the risk factor of the police job is. With his current appearance and figure, he can go to Hollywood. As a step back, he can go to the San Fernando Valley. This is his only L2 skill. I believe he can definitely make a name for himself in the San Fernando Valley. But when he thought of the name of the panel, he had to give up this idea. He had to be a policeman. Chapter 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Dong. Dong, Locke, can I come in? Of course. Locke picked up the towel and wiped it briefly, then hurried out of the bathroom. Marianne Locke pushed the door open and walked in. She was wearing a white business suit and looked capable and graceful. Although she was 45 years old, she had maintained a long-term exercise habit and did not develop horizontally like other family women. Her figure was still slim. Seeing that Locke had shaved and looked brand new, her eyes relaxed a lot and she said with concern, "Locke, if you are not ready yet, I suggest you take a few more days off." Locke showed off the muscles on his arms, shook his head and smiled. "I am not as fragile as you think. The vacation is over. I have to report today. Los Angeles needs me." Marian hesitated for a moment and said, "Locke, I have discussed with your father, and we still hope that you will quit your job as a police officer. If you really like law enforcement, I suggest you talk to Glenn. Tax police may be a good choice." Glenn is Locke's uncle Glenn Locke, who is a senior executive in the State Taxation Bureau, which is the famous IRS. Locke shrugged and replied without hesitation, "No, I prefer to be a policeman." "Marian, I'm sorry for making you worry this time. I will be more careful in the future." Marian showed an expression that she had guessed it long ago, and said helplessly, "Okay, I respect your choice, but please be sure to protect yourself. Before doing anything rash, please think about your family first." "I swear." Locke raised his hand to promise, hesitated for a moment, and said, "I plan to go back to Gran Apartments today." After work, Locke moved out of his home and rented a single room in Gran Apartments near the Wilshire district. This is a basic operation for many young Americans. When they become adults, they will leave home and live independently. "Okay, remember to have breakfast. I'm going to work first." Marianne was a little unhappy about Locke's rush to move out. She responded with a word and walked towards the door. She turned her head and reminded him, "Remember to call your father and tell him your decision. He is very worried about you. Don't blame him for not accompanying you all the time. He is really busy there." His father, Lee Bo, currently works in New York and is the head of the audit department at KPMG. This time when Locke got into trouble, he returned to Los Angeles for 3 days and then hurried back to New York. "I will." Locke subconsciously sent him to the door and apologized. "Marian, sorry." Marianne knew why he apologized and comforted him. "No need to apologize, I was young too, and I know you want freedom." Unlike most American parents, Marian from Texas prefers her children to live around her, even if they are adults. Locke asked again, "Marian, you and Todd." Marian and Lebo had a fierce quarrel last year because of differences in education. The long-suppressed contradictions suddenly emerged and they are now separated. Marian interrupted Locke and said seriously, "Locke, we will solve the problem between me and your father. No matter what happens in the end, we will tell you as soon as possible." She smiled and helped Locke to straighten his collar. "Although your change may come from the psychological trauma of this incident, frankly speaking, I am very happy to see such a change. You have matured, know how to care about your family, and become polite." Locke subconsciously apologized, "Sorry, I was such a jerk before." "Yes, that's right. You were indeed a jerk before, and never said sorry to me." Marian smiled and responded, tiptoed, and kissed Locke on the face, "But I still hope that jerk will come back soon." Locke stood a little at a loss, feeling guilty in his heart, and watched Marian go downstairs. There was a strange emotion lingering in his heart. Is this motherly love? In the empty villa, Locke sat alone in the dining room eating breakfast, sandwiches, bacon, and milk. Marian had gone to work, and his younger brother and sister had gone to school. Yes, Locke also had a younger brother and a younger sister. The younger brother, Jet Li, is 5 years younger than Locke. He is 17 years old this year and attends the famous Troy High School in Los Angeles. He has perfectly inherited his father's excellent Chinese genes and is a perfect academic master. However, he is in his rebellious teenage years and the relationship between the brothers is not harmonious. The younger sister, Hannah Lee, is 14 years old this year and attends the junior high school of Troy High School. She is also an academic master and a clever and eccentric non-mainstream girl. In general, he is the worst among the family members with high IQ. After breakfast, Locke skillfully washed the plates and cups and put them in the bowls. Cabinet, start the drying function. After doing all this, Locke was suddenly stunned. He didn't know how to use this high-end Miele cupboard at all. Looking at his reflection on the cupboard, he smiled with relief. It turned out that Locke Lee did not disappear. They just merged their memories. He was Locke Lee. The self-barrier deep in Locke's heart was instantly broken, and the panel appeared automatically. Light of Justice, Police System 2.0, Host, Rock Lee, Level, 1. Strength, 9, Human Peak 20, Speed, 9, Human Peak 20, Endurance, 9, Human Peak 20, Spirit, 11, Human Peak 20, Skills Mastered, Pistol, L1 Proficient, Rifle, L1 Proficient, Mixed Martial Arts, L2 Mastery, Driving, L3 Master, Chinese, L3 Master, Rugby, L2 Mastery, Mating, L2 Mastery, Swimming, L3 Master. Housekeeping, L3 Master, Traceology, L3 Master, Makeup, L3 Master, Forensic Medicine, L3 Master, Microexpression Analysis, L2 Mastery, Chemistry, L2 Mastery, Biology, L2 Mastery, Toxicology, L2 Mastery, Sketching, L2 Mastery, equals Proficient, French, L2 Proficient, Japanese, L2 Proficient, Art Appreciation, L2 Proficient, Computer, L2 Proficient, Cooking, L2 Proficient, Lock Picking, L2 Proficient, Justice Value, 500. Attribute Points, 1. Cards, Experience Card, Car Driving, 5 years. Of Experience, Pistol, 5 years of experience, Function Card, Bullet Avoidance Card, Learning Card, Spanish, 5 years of experience. Looking at the panel, Locke instantly understood what happened. Not only did his memory merge, but his skills also merged, and some skills were upgraded. What made him even more happy was that his mental attribute was directly increased by 4 points. He was finally no longer a simple-minded person with strong limbs. After all, he was also a top student. Locke's heart moved again, and both experience cards disappeared, but the learning card did not change. Locke instantly had a lot of experience in the use of pistols and cars in his mind. These experiences seemed to be his own experiences. He suddenly had a deeper understanding of the use of pistols and car driving. Pistol, L1 Proficiency, then became L2 Mastery, so it only takes 5 years of experience to go from L1 Proficiency to L2 Mastery, but car driving is still L3 Master. It seems that only 5 years of experience is not enough to upgrade. This needs to continue to explore. Locke focused on the attribute points again, and after weighing it, he added this attribute point to speed, improving speed attributes, agility, reaction ability, muscle elasticity, etc. will all be improved, and dodging bullets will be more relaxed. Locke felt a tingling sensation in his body, but this feeling disappeared instantly. He moved his hands, stood up and jumped a few times, and felt that his body had indeed become much lighter and more flexible. Finally, he focused on the learning card that had not changed much. After thinking for a while, he ran to the study to find a Spanish dictionary, flipped through a few pages, and used the skill card again. The learning card finally disappeared this time, and the panel changed again, and Locke's mind also had a lot of experience in learning Spanish, and he could speak pure Spanish when he opened his mouth. This is amazing. Locke was very excited. If one day he maxed out all his attributes and learned more skills, what would he become? Superman. Chapter 3. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At 8:45 a.m., Locke drove his Ford F-150 Raptor to 4861, Venice Avenue, which is the Wilshire area, number 7, of the West Division of the Los Angeles Police Department, where he works. The blue part is the LAPD's duty area, the 4 major LAPD divisions. With master-level driving skills, he usually takes 30 minutes to drive. But today he only took 22 minutes, and the driving experience was wonderful. However, he also found that this car, which had been driven for 3 years, had many problems, such as insufficient power, weak shock absorption feedback of the right rear wheel, noise in the exhaust, and the brake pads needed to be replaced, and there were more other minor problems. This black F-150 Raptor was bought by Locke with a college scholarship. Well, he collected $5,000 US, and his parents sponsored the rest. F-150 Raptor, bang, Locke parked the car in an empty space smoothly. Now driving is simply a kind of enjoyment for him. He looked up at the blue sky and smiled knowingly. It felt so good to stand in the sun. Rookie, welcome back. Hi, man, welcome back. Wow, look who this handsome guy is. Locke, well done. As soon as Locke walked into the Wilshire Division Hall, he was welcomed like a star, and even applauded. He is indeed a star in the Wilshire Division. In addition to his outstanding appearance and figure, his academic qualifications, UCLA, University of California, Los Angeles, is still very eye-catching in the eyes of ordinary police officers. In addition, his family background, his parents graduated from Ivy League schools, and both are executives of well-known companies, and they are definitely rich class, which means that he has deep connections behind him, and it is impossible not to pay attention to him. However, many people are waiting to see his jokes, betting on how long this playboy will stay in the police station before being fired. This time, he shot and killed 2 drug dealers, which made him more famous and made his colleagues more accepting of him. Locke first went to the equipment department to collect his uniform and equipment, and was forced to take administrative leave. Police officers need to return all police equipment, because if they fail to pass the internal review, they will be prosecuted, and naturally they cannot let him carry a gun. Locke's sidearm is a police Glock 17. After getting the pistol, he played with the quick disassembly and quick assembly in front of the equipment manager, which directly scared the other party. LAPD police sidearm Glock series. The gun feeling has improved a lot. Now he feels that every shot he fired is sure. When Locke changed his uniform, put on his equipment and walked into the patrol duty room, the sensation caused was even greater, and he received even warmer applause. Bro, welcome back to the team. Locke, I didn't expect your shooting skills to be so good. Rookie, good job. I have to have a few drinks today. Welcome back to the team. Locke, I thought you wouldn't come back. After dealing with a group of colleagues who were also trainee patrolmen, Locke walked straight to a middle-aged white policeman in his 40s. This was his trainee instructor, 3rd-level police officer David Murphy, LAPD 3rd-level police officer rank. After the hug, Locke smiled and said, David, you feel insecure without me these days. David looked at Locke's uniform, smiled with relief, shrugged and said, of course, without you, the most powerful man in Wilshire, I dare not go out on patrol. Locke smiled arrogantly, what are you waiting for? I can't wait to protect Los Angeles. David patted Locke's shoulder, have you forgotten the procedure? Go to Captain Jones to report first, you should be able to hear some good news. He squeezed Locke's shoulder hard again, I'm glad you can recover. You didn't do anything wrong. Do you remember what I said? Locke's expression was serious. Of course, I would rather be judged by 12 people than be carried by 6 people. David nodded and smiled, good, keep doing this next time. In the office, Richard Jones, the duty commander, looked at Locke standing upright in front of him with a serious face. There was a Citroën logo on his collar and the rank of 2nd-level superintendent. He couldn't help but sigh in his heart, this kid can be molded into a star policeman in the Los Angeles Police Department. LAPD 2nd-class superintendent rank. That he actually didn't like Locke, a troublemaker with a deep background, to join the Wilshire Division, because he felt that Locke was a time bomb, with too many uncontrollable factors. And he felt that Locke's joining the police force was just a temporary interest of a rich young man, and he wouldn't stay for long. However, after observing for a few months, combined with David Murphy's feedback, although Locke's personality was eccentric, he didn't see any bad habits. Captain Jones first informed Locke of the investigation results of the previous shooting. After the investigation by the Ministry of Internal Affairs, Locke's last operation was in full compliance with the rules and regulations of the Los Angeles Police Department, so Locke can return to the team immediately. After listening, Locke replied loudly, thank you, sir. Captain Jones smiled and said, in view of your heroic performance this time and the professional judgment of your internship instructor David Murphy, after the approval of the branch committee, we will end your probation in advance. First-level police officer Locke Lee, I now officially inform you that you have passed your internship. From now on, you will be promoted to a 2nd-level police officer. The Los Angeles Police Department will sign a new contract with you later. Locke was surprised, knowing that this should be the good news. David said, and replied loudly again, "Thank you very much, sir. This is indeed good news, which can end the rookie career in advance." In the Los Angeles Police Department, only after passing the internship period and being promoted to a second-level police officer can it be considered a real LAPD. Although first-level and second-level police officers will not be assigned police ranks, there is no difference, but after officially joining the job, the treatment will be greatly improved. The treatment of Los Angeles police officers is among the best in the United States. There is a salary during the 12-week training period, with a monthly salary of $5,900 during the training period and $6,200 during the internship period. After formal employment, the salary will be $6,500, and there will be a housing allowance of $24,000 per year, and all the benefits of formal police officers will take effect, and Locke has a bachelor's degree, so his salary will be $15,000 more per year, including overtime allowances, etc. At least $100,000 a year, a solid upper-middle-class income. Well, of course, this is before tax. Captain Jones extended his hand to Locke and smiled. "Locke, congratulations, welcome to join the LAPD. He added, "The 2 drug dealers you shot last time were members of a new drug trafficking organization in Mexico stationed in Los Angeles. The case has been taken over by the DEA. Based on the information of the 2 drug dealers, the DEA has taken down their den in one fell swoop. When the case is officially concluded, the DEA should have a reward for you, that I didn't expect. There would be unexpected wealth." Afterwards, Captain Jones called the internal line, and an administrative staff immediately delivered a new contract, because they were all standard contracts. Locke did not consult Marion's opinion. He glanced at them casually and signed his name. After signing the contract, Captain Jones led Locke to the duty room and informed everyone that Locke had ended his internship early and officially joined the company. Immediately, warm applause rang out again in the duty room, and congratulations came one after another. While the other trainee patrol officers applauded, they looked at Locke with envy and jealousy. "We agreed to work together, but you actually got ashore early." Locke couldn't stand this look, and immediately agreed to pay for the bar in the evening. The applause and cheers instantly became more enthusiastic. In the patrol car, Locke drove the patrol car out of the Wilshire subdivision. "David, thank you." David fastened his seatbelt and smiled. "This is what you deserve, your performance is worth it." For Los Angeles Police, the internship period is 18 months. In most cases, the internship period will end early. Locke passed the internship in only 6 months, which is definitely a leader. After entering the main road, Locke picked up the microphone skillfully and reported, 7 Adam 15, start patrol." The radio immediately responded with a clear and pleasant female voice, "Copy." Locke was about to hang up the microphone when another voice came from the radio, "Welcome back, Locke." Locke turned his head and smiled at David, and replied with a magnetic voice, "Thank you, Emma." "Fuck you, Locke, I'm Emily." Chapter 4. You are listening at novelfull.audio. "Fuck you, Locke, I'm Emily." Such a mistake just after returning adds a lot of fun to the patrol that hasn't started yet. David laughed at Locke in a low voice after a while. Seeing that Locke was no longer as embarrassed as at the beginning, he felt that he was asking for trouble and shrugged his shoulders. Suddenly, he glanced at Locke in confusion. "Is it my illusion? Why do I feel that you drive much more steadily today than before?" Locke pursed his lips and rolled his eyes in his heart. David is really old, and he only realized it now. He smiled and said, "Maybe your new driver's skills are too bad during my absence, or the logistics department just replaced the shock absorber for the car. Randy's skills are really bad." David complained about Locke's partner during his absence, and then made a joke. "Is it possible to expect the logistics department to replace the shock absorber for this old car until the Soviet invasion?" The patrol car that Locke and his team are driving now is a 17-year-old Ford Crown Victoria Police Interceptor, CVPI, a veritable old car, LAPD CVPI patrol car. He smiled and said, "When I become rich, I will donate a batch to the Wilshire district. It seems that I will not be able to wait for that day." David pretended to be regretful. He has 22 years of police service and can retire with full pension in 3 years. Then he sighed, "Boy, I thought you would not come back. Why? Locke naturally understood what David meant. As a son of a wealthy family, he had experienced dangerous shooting incidents. Although he was safe, he would most likely quit the Los Angeles police. A gentleman does not stand on a dangerous wall, which is common in China and abroad. After 6 months of internship, Locke already knew the patrol streets well. He turned the steering wheel right skillfully and said with a smile, I think the people of Los Angeles need me, and I don't want you to face criminals alone with your old arms and legs. David responded with a middle finger and said with a smile, thank you. He asked curiously, by the way, how did you hook up with the sweethearts at Parker Center? Parker Center is the headquarters of the Los Angeles Police Department. It is named after the former Sheriff William H. Parker and is also the 911 dispatch call center of the Los Angeles Police Department, Locke said arrogantly. They took the initiative to hook up with me and said that my voice is very sexy. David asked suddenly, Wilshire, who did you hook up with? Mona? Elsa? Don't worry, I will keep it a secret for you. No, Locke looked at David vigilantly and said speechlessly, you cheated me? Don't worry, I will remember your teachings. After that, he raised 2 fingers and nodded his head, indicating that what David said should be remembered in mind. David nodded and praised, that's good. Finding a partner in the same team will affect work, it is unprofessional, and it will affect your reputation and promotion. The police force also has regulations for couples. Once discovered, one of them needs to resign or be transferred. Then he complained, boy, when I was young, the sweetheart of Parker Center also asked me out, so don't show off in front of me. What's that expression on your face? Don't you believe it? Locke flattered him, I believe it, of course I believe it. Looking at Catherine, you know you were handsome when you were young. David's face changed instantly, and he said viciously, boy, I don't want to hear Catherine's name from you, not even once, otherwise, watch your back. Catherine Murphy is David's only daughter. She graduated from CSU, California State University, Davis and is considered Locke's alumnus. However, compared to Locke, a poor student, Catherine is a real academic master. She graduated with a master's degree in forensic medicine and works as a forensic doctor in the Los Angeles Police Department. She is David's pride. Catherine is a well-known policewoman in the Los Angeles Police Department. Locke met her once, and David was on guard against her, fearing that a playboy like Locke would mess with his daughter. Locke shrank his neck, made a gesture to seal his mouth, and changed the subject. It was a bit quiet this morning. He had only handled a few small cases since he started patrolling. David's expression, which had just been relieved, tightened again, and he cursed, shit, what did you say? Locke also realized that he had made a mistake and was about to make up for it when a call came from the radio. Code 2, someone on Devon Street complained that the noise from the renovation next door exceeded the standard. Fortunately, it was Code 2, a routine event, non-emergency, and there was no need to turn on the police lights. Locke's heart fell instantly, and seeing that the address was close, he immediately replied, 7 Adam 15, copy. He turned the steering wheel according to the detailed address on the computer, turned his head and smiled at David. It's okay. David interrupted him angrily, shut up, kid. I don't want to hear you talk now. Locke was very embarrassed. Damn, he almost violated the taboo again. He immediately shut up and stopped talking. It seems that he was too excited. This case was handled quickly. The noise from the Mexican renovation did not exceed the standard. It was just that the white old lady next door was unhappy to see so many Mexican immigrants hanging around in front of her. After handling a few more routine police cases, it was noon in a flash. Locke skillfully parked the car in front of a Mexican restaurant, where a LAPD patrol car was already parked. 7 Adam 15, code 7. Received. After informing the mobilization center about getting off the car for lunch, Locke and David got off the car one after another. Code 7 in the internal code of the Los Angeles Police Department means leaving the car for a meal and rest. In the restaurant, the first-class superintendent Mona Cole and the rookie patrolman Nathan Fillion, who were also trainee instructors, were already eating. When they saw them come in, they waved to them. LAPD first-class superintendent. The two of them ordered food from the waiter in a familiar manner. all of which were Mexican burritos, skewers and juice, and then went over to share a table. Superintendent Mona and Nathan once again congratulated Locke on finishing his internship early, especially Nathan, who was full of envy and jealousy. He decided to become a policeman in his 40s, and he was always tired of dealing with the strict Superintendent Mona Cole. Because it was fast food, the food was served quickly, and soon Locke and David also started eating. Superintendent Mona finished her meal, took a sip of juice, and asked casually, "How was it? Did you have a good morning?" David hurriedly told them the joke Locke made in the morning. After hearing it, Mona and Nathan laughed so hard that Nathan didn't forget to give Locke a thumbs up. Superintendent Mona wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes and said sympathetically, "Locke, you're done. This matter will definitely spread throughout the Los Angeles Police Department." Locke shrugged his shoulders, looking indifferent, and defended, "This can't be blamed on me. The voice on the radio will be distorted. If it was a real person, I would never have heard it wrong." Superintendent Mona was a little annoyed that he was so open about his scumbag, and snorted coldly, "Fortunately, you didn't mess around in Wilshire, otherwise, I would kick you out immediately." David shouted, "Come on, don't you see who his instructor is?" Locke was about to express his gratitude to David for his protection, but David then exposed Locke's crow mouth again. Superintendent Mona's face immediately sank, and she said solemnly, "Locke, you are already a formal police officer, how can you make such a low-level mistake?" Locke did not defend himself this time, and apologized honestly. Crow mouth is absolutely taboo in the Los Angeles Police Department, because if nothing goes wrong, it's okay, but if something goes wrong, there may be casualties among police officers. Just when the atmosphere was getting a little dull, 2 more LAPD officers came in. They were black second-level police officer Randy Casco and his white rookie patrol officer Elsa Molly. When Randy saw Locke, he didn't bother to order food, but walked straight over, pinched his throat, showed his white teeth, and shouted with a playful smile, "Fuck you, Locke, I'm Emily." The table suddenly burst into laughter, and the dullness just now disappeared in an instant. Chapter 5. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Randy Casco has always been the atmosphere of the patrol chief. He has the humor and funny talent of black people. He is good at imitating and hip-hop. He has always claimed that he is a hip-hop star who is delayed by his police identity. Locke naturally will not spoil the fun and gave Randy a middle finger without hesitation. Randy laughed even more happily. With a mouth full of white teeth, he could shoot a commercial for black toothpaste. He stretched out his fist to Locke, and Locke put away his middle finger and bumped fists with him. "Bro, congratulations again on joining the LAPD. Thank you," Randy said to Superintendent Mona again. "Sir, Locke has passed the internship. I suggest that Locke and I be arranged in a group, so that the 2 most handsome men in Wilshire can be together. Any criminal who sees us will succumb to our charm." Locke was speechless for a while. Randy's face was as black as chocolate. "If you don't look carefully, you can't distinguish his facial features. Isn't this guy shy?" Black, you can't even see it when you blush." "So that's it." Locke instantly felt that he had solved the mystery of the world. Listening to Randy's nonsense, Superintendent Mona nodded seriously, "Good idea." Randy was even more excited when he saw that Superintendent Mona agreed. "Bro, leave David, the old guy, and let's work together to protect the peace and justice of Los Angeles." Rookie female patrol officer Elsa came over with 2 lunches and said coldly, "I heard that 2 handsome men will change their sexual orientation when they are together for a long time." The smile on Randy's face froze instantly. "Shit. Elsa, is this true?" Elsa glanced at Locke coldly and nodded. "Of course, this is a research report from Stanford." Randy looked frightened and said to Locke, "Sorry, Locke, I can't change my love for women, so I'm sorry I can't team up with you." Locke glared at Elsa speechlessly. Although this petty woman felt a little nauseous in her heart, she still cooperated and said, "That's a pity. It seems I have to continue to team up with David, the old guy." Everyone was amused by Randy's antics. LAPD is a profession with high concentration. Chatting during lunchtime is a rare time for relaxation and leisure. People like Randy who are humorous are often the most popular. At this time, Locke's cell phone rang. He took it out and saw that it was Marion who called. He said excuse me and got up to answer the phone. Marion called to ask about Locke's status in the morning. She was relieved to know that Locke was doing well. When Locke told him that his internship was over early, Marion was helpless, but she still expressed her congratulations and gave a few more instructions. When she hung up the phone, she reminded Locke to call his father Todd again. If it weren't for Marion's reminder, Locke would have really forgotten to make this call. He turned his head and looked at the few people in the restaurant who were amused by Randy again, and called his cheap father. Fortunately, American fathers and sons can directly call their fathers by their names, otherwise, he really couldn't pronounce those two words. On the phone, Locke tell Li Bo that he wants to continue to be a policeman. Li Bo was silent for a few seconds, and said helplessly, "Okay, you are an adult, I respect your choice, but please protect yourself." "This time you got into trouble." Marion almost collapsed. Hearing the same words as Marion, Locke couldn't help laughing and asked, "Todd, you and Marion?" Li Bo's reaction was the same as Marion again. "Your mother and I are trying to solve our problems, but no matter what the result is, we will tell you as soon as possible." Then he comforted Locke a few more words, advising him to be careful at work, take care of his younger brothers and sisters at home, and act like a big brother. When he hung up the phone, he said that he would transfer a sum of money to him later so that he could upgrade his equipment, especially bulletproof vests. The equipment of Los Angeles police can be paid for by themselves, including firearms, bulletproof vests, etc., as long as they are registered. After hanging up the phone, Locke couldn't help laughing. It's really a Chinese father. 7 Adam 15, Resume Patrol. Copy. Not long after Locke started the car, David asked, "You and Elsa?" Elsa's hostility towards Locke naturally did not escape the eyes of the old policeman. Locke said guiltily, "I swear, our relationship only exists during the training period." David gave him a middle finger and snorted, "Don't let Captain Jones catch you. He has always disliked young men like you." He asked curiously, "After the last shooting incident, your parents should not let you continue to stay in the police force, right?" Locke shrugged and said seriously, "This is my life, isn't it?" He turned his head and took a look. David said with a smile, "So, Catherine can only be a forensic doctor?" David said frankly, "I just don't want to be like her mother, living in fear every day." "Hey, boy, who allowed you to mention Catherine's name?" Locke complained. "David, you should reflect on yourself. The biggest obstacle to Catherine's singleness is you." The two of them started their afternoon patrol with laughter and scolding. Soon there was a police report, helping to intercept a speeding car. With Locke's L3 driving skills, the escaping Mercedes-Benz was quickly blocked. After handing it over to the patrol car behind, Locke drove away in style. David held the roof handrail tightly with both hands, staring at Locke with lingering fear. "Boy, during the administrative leave, did you learn racing? Then you should be a state police." Locke was about to speak, and the radio station had another police report. Code 2, someone on Ford Street called the police and smelled a pungent smell. It is suspected that it was a poison gas bomb thrown by the Soviet Union against the United States. Soviet poison gas bomb? What the hell? Locke was stunned for a moment before replying. 7 Adam 15, copy. Locke and David soon found the Soviet gas bombs on Ford Street. Looking at the house wrapped in white film and the tool vehicle of the antivirus and insect control company, the situation was clear at a glance. Locke asked, "Should we wear protective clothing?" David pushed open the car door and replied unhappily, "Why don't you just inform the White House that the Soviet Union is calling?" "Forget it, I'm afraid the White House will believe it." Locke held back his laughter and replied with a code 6, "Leave the car to investigate on the radio." He also got out of the car and turned on the law enforcement recorder on his chest. David was standing next to the tool vehicle of the antivirus and insect control company. There was no one in the car. He was using the intercom to verify the information of the company. Locke walked over, stared at the house wrapped in film, and shrugged his nose. There was indeed a smell in the air, but it was very faint. He couldn't smell what it was. If I guessed correctly, it should have leaked from the house. There is no problem with the vehicle information. David checked the information of the car and found that it was indeed registered under the name of this antivirus and insect control company, so the smell complained by the police was most likely the smell of the insecticide of the insect control company leaked out. He put away the walkie-talkie and walked towards the house. although it seemed that there was no problem. Locke still adhered to the position in the training, 5 steps behind David, and the two walked at an angle. His hand was always on the Glock 17 on the side, and he was vigilantly guarding the surroundings. The staff in the house should have noticed Locke and David, and they came out automatically without waiting for the two to call the door. The two wore white protective clothing, gas masks and protective goggles, and yellow corrosion-resistant rubber gloves on their hands. Seeing the two cooperate so well, Locke's heart was relieved. But as the two came out, the film of the house was lifted up a corner, and he smelled a smell again, which was stronger than the smell he smelled before, and even a little pungent. Locke's heart skipped a beat, and his relaxed heart was instantly lifted, and his nerves were more tense. He was familiar with this smell. He was at least a chemistry L3 and had done this kind of experiment. Isn't this the smell of ephedrine after the reaction? He knew what happened here instantly. He had a connection with the drug dealer. But this drug dealer was really a talent. He actually thought of using the smell of insecticide to cover up the smell of drug production. Chapter 6. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Locke did not remind David immediately. Drug dealers are always very alert, and he was afraid of alerting the enemy. Moreover, the two drug dealers were wearing protective clothing and should not be carrying weapons. He was more worried about whether there were other drug dealers in the house. If there were drug dealers in the house, they should be staring outside with guns. Once they realize they are exposed, they will shoot them. David seemed to be unaware of it. He showed his police badge to the staff standing in front of him in a very procedural manner. LAPD, someone complained that your insecticide smell leaked. The staff took off the gas mask, revealing a slightly vicissitudes of life face, looking about 50 years old, white. At this moment, his face was ruddy, and there were marks on his face from wearing a mask for a long time. Locke could not tell anything from his expression for a while, but this person had a high psychological quality and did not show any panic. After hearing David's statement, the other party subconsciously turned around and looked at the protective film of the house behind him, and said in a serious tone, "Sir, I'm sorry to hear this. We will check the seal of the house immediately, but please rest assured that even if there is a leak, a small amount of leak will not cause any physical harm. The pesticides used by our company are all FDA certified. Jesse, check the protective film of the house again immediately." The staff member behind him, who was obviously younger, turned around to check the seal of the film of the house. Locke could see from his movements that he was a little flustered. Obviously, the young people's psychological quality is not as good as the old ones. David asked a few more questions about the pest control of the house. The other party responded very professionally and seemed to be an expert in pest control. Soon David finished the inquiry, told them to deal with the leakage problem, and then made a gesture to Locke and turned to walk towards the patrol car. Locke was on guard all the time, as if he was afraid of the film leaking, and he kept walking backwards to the car. When he got back to the car safely, he was thinking about how to tell David about his discovery, when David said seriously, "Drive, get out of here first." Locke looked at him in astonishment, and hurriedly started the patrol car and left. David picked up the radio microphone and reported, 7 Adam 15, that spicy smell, suspected to be from a drug workshop. 2 cookers, drug makers, are currently found, other members are unknown, weapons are unknown. Code 11, request SWAT support. Copy, report immediately, keep the radio open. As soon as David hung up the microphone, Locke asked, "How did you find it?" David replied indifferently, "I will never forget the stench of ephedrine deoxygenation in my life." Locke knew that he underestimated David. The other party had been a patrolman for more than 20 years and had extremely rich experience. He had encountered all kinds of cases. He asked, "What should we do next?" David replied, "Find a place to park first and wait for support. The other party is in the process of making it and will not be easily transferred, but this case will most likely be handed over to the DEA." Before he finished speaking, his cell phone rang. David's expression became serious, and he quickly answered the phone and called out, "Captain." Locke saw that he was far away from the house, so he parked the car on the side of the road and listened. The chief of the Wilshire district, Anna Davis, called at this time. obviously because of the police report David had just made. On the phone, Davis asked David about the process of discovering the drug manufacturing workshop, and said, "David, I will hand over this case to the DEA, and the DEA will contact you later." David hurriedly replied, "Okay, no problem." Just when Locke was a little puzzled about this, David handed the phone over, and Locke took the phone. "Captain," Davis said, "Locke. Congratulations on passing the internship in advance. Welcome to join the LAPD. Thank you, Captain. Locke, in private, you can call me Anna as usual." After ending the call, Locke returned the phone to David with an embarrassed look. Yes, he is also a relative in the Wilshire district, and Anna Davis is a good friend of his mother Marion for more than 10 years. Anna Davis arranged for David to be his trainee instructor because Marion was worried about his safety. David Murphy, who had been a patrolman for 22 years, was undoubtedly the best candidate for trainee instructor. In order to ease the embarrassment, Locke asked, "We should be able to deal with these people by sending out SWAT. Why do we have to hand them over to the DEA?" David explained, "Usually, drug-related cases will be handed over to the DEA. They have more firepower. There is a drug workshop there, and there are many chemical equipment, which can easily cause an explosion, so the captain will definitely hand the case over to the DEA for the safety of his team members. It is right to let professionals handle professional matters." He glanced at Locke. The last incident was an accident, otherwise, it would also be handed over to the DEA for follow-up. 2 weeks ago, Locke and David were patrolling and found a car driving crookedly. After they stopped the car, they were ready to get off the car to check, but they didn't expect the other party to start the car and escape. Locke relied on his fast speed and rushed to the front of the car, trying to force the other party to stop with a gun, but the 2 drug dealers in the car were high and pulled out their guns to shoot Locke. Locke fired subconsciously, and directly performed a complete set of American III, emptied the magazine, and let the 2 drug dealers receive lunch boxes on the spot. He was also hit by the out-of-control car. Before David finished speaking, his cell phone rang again. After answering the call, he smiled and said, "Carlos, you owe me another favor." On the phone, David recounted the process of discovering the drug workshop just now. After hanging up, he explained to Locke, "DEA, the captain of the drug enforcement team, he used to be from LAPD, they will come soon." 10 minutes later, 4 black full-size Chevrolet Suburbans drove over. The windows were all black, you couldn't see inside, and it was very oppressive from a distance. After David explained, he got out of the car and got into the other party's car. 2 minutes later, he returned to the car and said seriously, "Drive and lead the way, follow my instructions." Locke rarely saw David so serious. He started the car, turned around and led the way. When he was about to see the van of the pest control company, David suddenly shouted to stop. Locke braked the car again, and when he was wondering, the last car of the 4 Suburbans broke away from the convoy and drove to the back of the house. He instantly understood, this is to go to the back of the house to encircle. A minute later, David saw the car behind him making gestures in the rearview mirror, knowing that the car that was going to encircle was in place, and asked Locke to drive again. Seeing that he was about to get close to the van, Locke's heart couldn't help but rise. When he didn't know whether to stop, David said, "Speed up, drive over." Locke stepped on the gas, and the car drove over in a flash. In the rearview mirror, 3 Subaru rushed directly to the front of the house. Before the car stopped, fully armed DEA members wearing hoods rushed out of the car, each holding an automatic rifle, and rushed into the house at lightning speed. "DEA, hands up, raise your hands, shoot fire, fire exchange, clear, danger cleared." Chapter 7. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Half an hour later, the entrance of the house wrapped in film was full of people. Support from the Wilshire Division also arrived. Superintendent Mona directed the patrol police to block the perimeter. Patrol cars with flashing lights were parked at both ends of the road. DEA forensic personnel also entered the house to collect evidence. The forensic doctor was carrying 2 body bags into the body transporter. Yes, no ambulance was called, but a body transporter was called directly. There were indeed more than 2 drug dealers in the house, a total of 4 people. The 2 drug makers seen before were 2 drug makers, and there were also 2 guards. carrying weapons, 2 Colts, the 2 bodies were guards. The 2 drug makers immediately fell to the ground when they saw the commandos breaking into the house. It must be said that professional matters should be left to professionals. The DEA raided the house and took less than 30 seconds to shut down this temporary drug workshop. The 2 cooks are now loaded into 2 Saab squads, guarded by 2 team members, and 2 team members holding AR-15s are standing outside each car. The entire DEA drug enforcement team gave Locke the impression of strict discipline, capable and professional. Whether it was assault or guarding, they were meticulous, not looking like police, but more like the military, all armed to the teeth, with rifles, and even equipped with Remington 700 sniper rifles and 37mm grenade launchers, 37mm grenade launcher, Remington M700. Although the mission was over, all the team members still wore hoods and kept alert with guns. The only one who took off the hood at the scene was Carlos, the captain of the drug enforcement team. Because the drug workshop was discovered by David and Locke, the 2 did not need to maintain order outside, but went inside to do some procedural handover work with the DEA. After the handover work was completed, Carlos, the captain of the DEA drug enforcement team, came over. He was a black man with a somewhat ferocious face, strong and powerful, exuding a sturdy aura. Carlos bumped fists with David. David, thank you, I'll treat you to a drink someday. David took the initiative to ask, Carlos, is there any information you can tell me? Carlos said in a deep voice, this is a local drug-making organization that is very hidden. They are very cunning. They make drugs in Los Angeles and transport them to the surrounding areas. They don't sell them in Los Angeles. He turned his head and glanced at the house wrapped in film at the back. If it weren't for you, I don't know how long it would take for this drug-making model to be discovered. It's still unknown how long they have been using this model to make drugs. The 2 who died were little Karami. The antivirus and insect repellent company already has. If we go there, we will find more information. The identities of the 2 cooks have been found out. You would never guess it. David asked, what identities? Carlos glanced at the car that was guarding the cooks and said, to be precise, there is only 1 cooker, and the other is his student and assistant. The cooker is a high school chemistry teacher, and the young assistant is his former student. More information needs to be further interrogated after we go back. Even though David is knowledgeable, he was stunned for a moment and said in amazement, knowledge is indeed money. Carlos said coldly, what a pity he didn't use his knowledge in the right place. He laughed again, lucky guy, this time the bonus should be quite a lot. David said calmly, I deserve it. Carlos shrugged, you guys, if you like money so much, you should come to DEA, otherwise you wouldn't be stopped by the damn promotion exam and have been patrolling the streets. David pouted, I don't want to be like you, covered in wounds. If you weren't lucky, I would have attended your funeral long ago. Carlos gave David a middle finger, I am exercising justice for God, and it will always favor me. As he said, he turning his gaze to Locke, he grinned and said, is this the rookie who killed 2 drug dealers from the Minotti organization last time? Boy, you should go to Hollywood, not the LAPD. David turned his head and smiled at Locke, don't mind, he has always hated men who are more handsome than him. He was very polite to you for not drawing his gun at the first time. The novel was taken from the Rawlers website. Close where you're reading it and support us on our website for more free novels. Seeing that Locke was not scared by Carlos, a trace of appreciation flashed in his eyes. Locke is no longer a rookie, he ended his internship early. Carlos also admired Locke with a calm expression and smiled, in fact, I would rather say that with his body shape, he should come to the DEA. Boy, although I am not happy with your face, I have to say that you did a great job last time. Dealing with drug dealers should be like that. David glanced at the side and whispered, Carlos, I want to know if there are any consequences of the last incident. Carlos hesitated, glanced at Locke, and said, if others asked, I would say no, but who called you David? He said solemnly, usually drug dealers don't dare to retaliate against the police at will, but the Minotti organization is a new drug trafficking organization in Tijuana, Mexico. It is known for its cruelty and viciousness in Tijuana. This time we killed 2 people through Locke. The drug dealers found their lair in Los Angeles and wiped out their influence in Los Angeles. As a newly emerging drug trafficking organization, they attach great importance to their reputation in the circle, so they cannot rule out revenge on Locke when they return to Los Angeles. It shows their ferocity. Although Locke's information is kept strictly confidential, you know better than me what the situation is in the Los Angeles Police Department. After speaking, he smiled at Locke and said, "Boy, if you are afraid, join the DEA. No drug trafficking organization dares to mess with people from the DEA, because we will go to Mexico." David's expression changed slightly and he nodded. "Thank you, Carlos, I will report this matter to Captain Davis." Locke's heart also sank, but his expression remained unchanged. He solemnly said, "Thank you, Captain Carlos." An hour later, the DEA left the scene and the street blockade was lifted. However, the house was sealed off as a crime scene, and 2 patrol officers remained at the scene. Locke and David also resumed patrolling, and David immediately informed Anna Davis of the situation revealed by Carlos. Anna Davis took it very seriously and said she would report it immediately. She would ask the DEA and FBI special agents in Mexico to pay attention to the activities of the Menotti organization. She would also arrange for people to protect Locke's family. She also gave Locke a few words of comfort to make him trust the LAPD. Seeing Locke frowning, David comforted him, "Don't worry too much. Every LAPD will have enemies. You will get used to it in the future. Carlos's words are just a possibility. Captain Davis will protect your family." Locke said gloomily, "I just don't know how to tell my family about this." He really felt guilty. He finally had a family, but he didn't want to put them in danger so soon. David looked helpless. This is what the LAPD family members have to face. In fact, you don't have to say it because it may not happen. Locke was silent, but he had already made a decision in his heart. Regardless of whether the Menotti organization would seek revenge on him, passive waiting was not his style. He would never let Marianne and the others be put in danger. Chapter 8. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Wilshire Police Station. Locke locked the Glock 17 in the gun cabinet and turned to David and asked, "Are you really not going?" After the LAPD closes, if it is a police station service gun, it needs to be kept at the police station after get off work. Unless there are special circumstances, it cannot be taken home. However, if it is a service gun purchased by yourself, it is not included in this rule. David smacked his lips, looking hesitant, and finally shook his head and said, "I have a heart problem, and Catherine won't let me drink." Locke nodded to David with his hand and smiled, "You said it yourself this time. It seems that Catherine has a very strict control over you." "David, do you know what a father like you is called in China?" "You know shit, this is the love from family." David looked proud and asked curiously, "What is it called?" "Daughter slave." Locke said it in Chinese first, and then in English, "Daughter slave." David learned Chinese in a weird accent, and then nodded, "Yes, I am a daughter slave." He patted Locke on the shoulder. "Locke, this is the first time I heard you speak Chinese, and then I remembered that you are Chinese. When I meet Asians in the future, you will communicate with them." Locke was startled and rolled his eyes. "Come on, not all Asians are Chinese." Locke did not speak Chinese before. Although he majored in Chinese at CSU, he did not speak it at all, and basically communicated with his father Li Bo in English. This is also one of the conflicts between Li Bo and Marion. Li Bo feels that Locke has been completely westernized by Marion and his family and has forgotten his Chinese identity. After he joined rugby in high school, he became a bad-tempered bastard, fighting every now and then and often being called by his parents, which made Li Bo even more disappointed in him, while Marion was very tolerant of this, which further deepened the differences between the two in education. Locke immediately thought of a way to ease the relationship between Li Bo and Marion. He smiled and waved to David, preparing to change clothes. David called him, "Locke, you are in good shape, keep it up, don't worry about things that haven't happened yet." Locke punched his chest with his fist and said arrogantly, "I am the #1 tough guy in Wilshire, how can I be scared by such a thing?" David also reminded, "Don't drink too much later, you have to take the oath of office tomorrow morning." Got it. "Say hello to Catherine for me." Locke didn't look back and waved with his back to his body. "You're dreaming. Get out of here, you little bastard." In the locker room, after Locke changed his clothes, he didn't leave immediately, but stared at the panel absent-mindedly. Light of Justice, Police System 2.0, Host, Rock Lee, Strength, 9, Human Peak 20, Speed, 10, Human Peak 20, Endurance, 9, Human Peak 20, Spirit, 11, Human Peak 20, Skills Mastered, Pistol, L2 Mastery, Rifle, L1 Proficiency, Mixed Martial Arts, L2 Mastery, Driving, L3 Master 20 years, Chinese, L3 Master, Rugby, L2 Mastery. Mating, L2 Mastery, Swimming, L3 Master, Housekeeping, L3 Master, Traceology, L3 Master, Makeup, L3 Master, Forensic Medicine, L3 Master, Microexpression Analysis, L2 Mastery, Chemistry, L2 Mastery, Biology, L2 Mastery, Toxicology, L2 Mastery, Sketching, L2 equals Proficient, French, L2 Proficient, Japanese, L2 Proficient, Art Appreciation, L2 Proficient, Computer, L2 Proficient, Cooking, L2 Proficient, Lock Picking, L2 Proficient, Spanish, L1 Proficient, Justice Value, 500. Attribute Points, none. Cards, Experience Card, none. Function Card, Bullet Avoidance Card, Skill Card, none. Several cases were solved today. 2 people died in the drug workshop case in the afternoon, but the panel did not change at all. Locke combined the last reward scenario, summarized it, and came to a conclusion: it seems that there will be no reward for small civil cases. If the criminal is not killed by him, there will be no reward. Or, it is related to his participation. In the drug workshop case in the afternoon, he was just a spectator and his participation was extremely low, but this needs further verification. But one thing is certain: if you want a reward, you have to kill the criminal. No wonder it is called the tough police system. Does the system require him to kill people? Knock, knock. Locke, you're not going to run away. Right away. After a while, Locke, who had changed his clothes, went to meet Nathan, Randy, Elsa, Thaddeus and Superintendent Mona. Together with the others, they walked towards the Sky Bar near the police station, talking and laughing, because they wanted to drink. They didn't drive. Locke also invited Captain Jones, but he declined. As for the big boss Anna Davis, he didn't even think about it. The Sky Bar is only 1 street away from the Wilshire police station. It is a regular bar for police officers after get-off work. It was renovated again last year. The environment is better. There is a dance floor, an entertainment area, a leisure area, and a long bar. As soon as he arrived at the bar, Locke saw many other colleagues in the police station. After saying hello, he walked directly to the bar owner, Old John, an Irish old man with grey hair and beard. So the Sky Bar mainly sells Irish whiskey. Old John was wiping his wine glass. When he saw Locke, he smiled and said, "Locke, I heard that you finished your internship early. Congratulations. I'll buy you a drink later." "Thank you." Locke raised his finger and turned it in a circle. "John, I'll buy you tonight." Old John gave Locke a thumbs up and smiled. "Boy, I'm optimistic about you." When Locke returned to Nathan's booth, he heard Old John shouting in a loud voice, "Wilshire Warriors, handsome Locke will pay for you tonight. Please enjoy it. Cheers to Locke." As soon as Old John finished speaking, cheers rang out in the bar, and the Wilshire police officers scattered around the bar raised their glasses. "Cheers to Locke. Wow, cheers to Locke. Locke, welcome to join the LAPD. Locke, good job. Locke, admit that you are more handsome than me." Randy, Nathan, Elsa, Teddy, Superintendent Mona and others in the booth also raised their glasses to Locke, congratulating him again on his official joining of the LAPD. Putting down his wine glass, Locke asked Thaddeus, who was also a rookie, "Why didn't I see Mark?" Thaddeus Martin was the most famous person in this rookie group, a handsome black guy. His father was the head of the Western Division's Internal Affairs Department, Superintendent Philip Martin. Mark was Thaddeus's trainee instructor. Thaddeus looked a little hesitant, and glanced at Superintendent Mona carefully, but still confessed, "I have a disagreement with Instructor Mark on law enforcement. I think he is prejudiced against black people." The expressions of everyone in the booth suddenly became solemn, and Superintendent Mona was even more serious. She said in a deep voice, "Thaddeus, this is a very serious accusation. You are in the internship period. I think you should listen to the instructor's instructions. Mark's law enforcement attitude is indeed very strict, but I haven't heard that he discriminates against people of color." Thaddeus lowered his head to avoid Superintendent Mona's sight, and immediately replied, "Sorry, Officer Mona, I will adjust my attitude." Locke raised his eyebrows and subconsciously glanced at Randy Casco. He found that he looked like he wanted to say something but stopped, and immediately remembered David's warning to him. David once mentioned vaguely that Officer Mark liked to play tricks and told him not to get too close to him. Chapter 9. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the morning, Locke suddenly woke up, hurriedly touched the bedside, picked up the watch to check the time, and found that it was already 8:20. He was anxious. He forgot to set the alarm last night, and he had to take the oath of office this morning, but then he found that he was in Gran Apartment, and he relaxed instantly. It only took 10 minutes from Gran Apartment to Wilshire, and there was plenty of time. Feeling the smoothness on his arm, Locke turned his head and saw a bright and pretty face, with scattered golden hair, long eyelashes, a straight nose, rosy and sexy lips, and dazzling white skin. After drinking at the Sky Bar last night, Randy and the others wanted to continue drinking, so they went to a nearby club. As soon as they arrived at the nightclub, the beauties in the nightclub came to Locke in an endless stream. There was no way. His appearance and bodybuilding made him a walking hormone. Randy, Nathan, and Teddy felt very inferior. At Elsa's instigation, several people started to make a fuss and asked Locke to get the bar queen to prove his charm. In fact, they wanted to see him lose face. Yes, just like the endless stream of women chatting up Locke, there was also a cold and beautiful Rose on the other side of the nightclub, which made the men in the nightclub fly over like bees to get horny from time to time. Locke recalled the beauty of last night, a wonderful night, and couldn't help but start to get excited again, but when he thought of the induction ceremony in the morning, he calmed down instantly. The people of Los Angeles need him more. He pushed away the arms and thighs wrapped around him, turned over and got out of bed and went into the bathroom. After a while, Locke finished washing and came out naked to put on his clothes. The woman on the bed had woken up. She opened her blue eyes and stared at Locke's body with appreciation. After being discovered by Locke, she was not flustered or shy at all, and greeted him calmly. Hi. Locke was a little confused. From last night's performance, this beautiful woman was not Aquaman, because he was the one who dominated the whole process, but the woman's calm expression was full of Aquaman style. He felt a little uncomfortable with the woman's hot eyes, and hurriedly found a pair of underwear to put on. The woman praised, "You have a great figure, just like the statue of David, with well-proportioned muscles. Unlike the muscular man who simply pursues strength." Locke put on another t-shirt, and immediately felt relieved. He also praised, "You have a great figure, too, with a protruding front and a curved back, and smooth and delicate skin, just like Venus." The woman stood up from the bed and stretched out her slender jade hand to Locke. Her hand was cold and white, but fortunately you could see the green blood vessels. "Jennifer Grey, last night was a wonderful night." Locke Lee, I have something urgent to do, so I will leave first. "When you leave, please lock the door, thank you." Locke shook hands with the woman. He had been holding it in for 2 weeks, and he had the skill of L2, so it would be strange if it wasn't wonderful. His eyes could not help but linger on the woman, and he was not complimenting her just now. This woman was as pretty as a Hollywood actress, and her figure was also impeccable, tall and slender, with full curves and a well-proportioned body, fair skin, dotted with golden hair, and a holy sexiness all over her body. Jennifer Grey saw Locke raising the flag and saluted. Subconsciously took a step back, and said with an awkward expression, "Sorry, I've had enough." Locke hurriedly put on jeans to cover his respect, and apologized, "Sorry, your figure is too attractive." Jennifer Grey smiled, showing her body generously, and said with a smile, "It was my first time yesterday, and I didn't expect it to feel so wonderful." Seeing Locke's expression of, "Are you serious?" he also looked at the bed sheet. She immediately realized the ambiguity in her words and explained, "Last night was the first time I went to a nightclub to find a partner." Locke had already put on his socks and shoes and looked up at the woman, "So, what do you want to say? He was experienced in this kind of thing and knew that the woman should have something to say, and he didn't have time to waste with her, so he asked directly. Wilshire Police Department. Locke hurried to the police station, changed his uniform, and finally caught up with his swearing-in ceremony. Women really affect speed. The ceremony was held by Captain Anna Davis. The police officers of the Wilshire Police Department stood on the stage. The atmosphere was solemn and dignified, and full of ritual. Under the stars and stripes and the Los Angeles Police Department badge, Locke, wearing a dark blue uniform, solemnly read the police oath. Anna personally presented Locke with the police badge and certificate, and personally put the badge on his chest. Locke, welcome to join the LAPD, welcome to officially become a member of Wilshire. LAPD badge. Locke raised his hand and saluted Anna in a standard hand-raising salute, saying loudly, "Thank you, Captain, it's an honor to join Wilshire. He'll accept your leadership." Seeing that the former bad boy has become responsible, Anna was also happy for her good friend. She hugged Locke and encouraged him, "Come on." Soon she smelled the peculiar smell on Locke and let go of him with disgust. Locke was very guilty and didn't dare to look at Anna. He was obviously dressed and ready to go, but he didn't expect Jennifer Grey to make a request that he couldn't refuse, which made him excited and couldn't help but come again. In the end, because of the time rush, he didn't have time to take a shower. Among the women he had experienced, Jennifer Grey was definitely the best. Her appearance, figure, taste, knowledge, and status were all better than the women he had met before. This woman turned out to be a thoracic surgeon at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles. Cedars-Sinai Medical Center is one of the top comprehensive hospitals in the United States and the largest on the West Coast. Hospital. Jennifer Grey is so young that she can become the chief thoracic surgeon of this hospital. She is definitely a genius at the top of the pyramid. According to her, she is too busy to fall in love, but she is under a lot of pressure and has physical needs that need to be released. After a one-night stand last night, she was very satisfied with Locke inside and out, so she invited Locke to be her long-term partner. After the induction ceremony, Locke found David and showed the police badge on his chest with a proud face. "David, don't call me a rookie in the future, please call me Officer." David didn't have a good face and snorted, "I reminded you not to be late last night, and you almost messed up your induction ceremony just now." Locke said guiltily, "There was a little accident." At this time, Randy led Nathan and Thaddeus over. The three of them congratulated Locke first, especially Nathan and Thaddeus, who stared at the police badge on Locke's chest with envy. Randy asked directly, "Locke, last night, you and that lady." Last night, Locke, at their instigation, went to chat with Jennifer Grey. After getting in touch, the two naturally left the nightclub early. Seeing that the three of them were staring at him with burning eyes, Locke spread his hands and replied in a showy way, "Don't ask, it's just what you imagined, otherwise, how could I almost be late just now? Damn. Damn it, yes." Randy excitedly reached out to Nathan and Mathis, and they each took out $10 and put it in his hand. Looking frustrated, Randy took the money and waved to Officer Mona and Elsa not far away. Obviously, the two of them also participated in the bet. He put his arm around Locke's shoulder and said arrogantly, "Locke and I are the same kind of people. We are charming and have no problems in nightclubs." Fuck, Nathan, Mathis, you actually bet on me to lose. You really should go to the ophthalmologist. I just met a doctor at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. Randy, you actually bet on me. This is too disrespectful to me. I think the bet should be divided into half. Chapter 10. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In May in Los Angeles, the sun was blazing brightly, and the ultraviolet rays were ridiculously strong. California's sunshine is world famous, so Locke and David had to wear sunglasses. The two had just dealt with a car accident. An IT programmer driving a Tesla Model X crashed into a roadside electric pole because of a mistake in pedaling. Fortunately, the population density in Los Angeles is not high, and there are not many people on the roadside. This accident did not cause any injuries to innocent passers-by, except that the driver was injured in the face and neck by the airbag that popped out. After Locke and David arrived at the scene, they comforted the bald programmer as soon as possible, called an ambulance and a tow truck, and simply recorded a transcript for the driver and helped him to file an insurance claim. In less than half an hour, the driver was rescued safely. During the rescue, Locke and David stood far away. He whispered to David, "I'm worried that this thing will explode and catch fire." David said in distress, "Catherine is driving this thing. No matter how much I persuade her, it won't work. Damn Elon Musk." Locke was stunned and immediately changed his words. "In fact, trams are still very safe. They are green and environmentally friendly. It will be a trend in the future. Catherine is very environmentally conscious." David didn't say anything, but just glared. Locke made a gesture of sealing his mouth and rolled his eyes in his heart. Although Catherine Murphy is very beautiful, she is still a little bit worse than Jennifer Grey, a cold and beautiful lady with good looks and figure. Soon the bald programmer was taken away by the ambulance, and Tester, whose car front was smashed to pieces, was also towed away by a tow truck. The damaged electric pole was also notified to the road administration, and barriers were built around it, waiting for repairs. Locke returned to the car, started the patrol car, and reported the situation of the police incident. After the driver was treated, they still needed to go to the hospital to record a formal record. He had just left his phone number on the ambulance acceptance form. David took a sip of iced coffee, sighed comfortably, turned his head and asked Locke, "So, how beautiful was the woman you met in the nightclub last night?" Locke was speechless that David's mind switched so quickly, and replied seriously, "David, I suggest you don't ask." The more Locke said this, the more curious David became. "Come on, boy, what kind of woman have I not seen?" Seeing David insist, Locke pondered for a moment and said, "Well, she looks a bit like Nicole Kidman, and her skin is the same, white as snow, as smooth as cheese." He has planned to restrain Locke Lee's promiscuous style. This guy's aesthetic level is really a bit low. You know, Emma and Emily in Parker Center are both light tank-type figures. He didn't expect to meet a perfect partner like Jennifer Grey so soon, which was exactly what he wanted. So when Jennifer Grey proposed to develop a long-term relationship in the morning, he immediately agreed. David looked unconvinced. "Damn, I don't believe your nonsense." Locke rolled his eyes. "You can ask Nathan later. You should believe what he said. He is a surgeon at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, graduated from Harvard Medical School." David instantly lost interest in gossip, and his proud Catherine Murphy was instantly turned into slag. In the following chat, Locke did not mention Jennifer Grey again. He began to deliberately ask about the gangs in Los Angeles. David was very satisfied with Locke's eagerness to learn. He told him everything he knew, which benefited him a lot. Code 3, Palma Building, 55, Wilshire Boulevard. Jeff Markey Law Firm reported that someone was armed and injured. 7 Adam 15, copy. Hearing the police report on the radio, Locke and David immediately looked serious. Wilshire Boulevard is adjacent to Hollywood and is the most prosperous street in the jurisdiction. This street is dotted with famous landmark shopping malls in Los Angeles, such as Macy's, Beverly Center, Grove Center, and the Los Angeles Museum. The Jeff Markey Law Firm that reported the case is one of the top 5 big law firms in Los Angeles. And the boss is a big man who can communicate directly with the mayor of Los Angeles. The American police system is commercially operated, relying entirely on funding and donations from the Los Angeles government, and most of Los Angeles's tax revenue comes from large companies and wealthy people. Therefore, the deployment of police forces by the Los Angeles Police Department is biased, and these areas that are related to the prosperous economy of Los Angeles are usually given priority. Locke immediately turned on the siren and accelerated towards Wilshire Boulevard. David also took the microphone and paid attention to the police feedback on the public channel. The reason why Locke and David are so cautious is that the financial funding of the Los Angeles Police Department has a lot to do with the large companies and the wealthy class in Los Angeles. Speech right. So if the police incidents involving big companies and rich people are not handled properly, it will affect the reputation of the Los Angeles Police Department and thus affect the financial allocation. The internal unspoken rule of the LAPD is that the rich are given priority, which is the truth of the United States. For example, there are always more police patrols in high-end communities than in low-end communities. Many black areas are not even patrolled at all. A group of parasites who live on social welfare do not pay taxes at all. If they do not pay taxes, the LAPD will naturally not serve them. When Locke and David arrived at the Palma Building at 55, Wilshire Boulevard, 2 patrol cars were already parked downstairs. 7 Adam 15, arrived at the scene. The two got out of the car quickly and took the elevator to the floor where Jeff Markey Law Firm was located. When the two arrived at Jeff Markey Law Firm, they found it very quiet here. It didn't look like anything had happened. They were relieved immediately. This scene showed that the matter was not serious. As soon as the trainee lawyer at the front desk saw them, he took them directly to the scene of the crime, an office closer to the inside. Superintendent Mona and Nathan were there, as well as two other patrol officers. A middle-aged white man wearing glasses was being held aside in handcuffs. He looked very embarrassed, disheveled, with a ruddy face, a somewhat manic expression, and muttering something. Superintendent Mona was reporting the incident on the intercom. In her evidence bag was a table knife. Code 4, the suspect has been subdued, no casualties. Code 4 in the Los Angeles Police Department means that no further support is needed. David asked, "What's the situation?" Nathan looked at the detained man with sympathy and explained in a low voice, "In a divorce lawsuit, the man lost custody and had to pay a high amount of child support. He couldn't accept it emotionally, so he came to find a lawyer." Superintendent Mona also ended the call and said to David with a strange look, "When we arrived, the suspect had been subdued by the client." She turned her head and told Locke, "Locke, go and take a statement for Miss Daisy Greenberg." Okay. Locke agreed immediately, and was a little curious in his heart. Why didn't Superintendent Mona ask Nathan to take the statement? He didn't notice that the old rookie next to him was looking at him with sympathy. Following the instructions of Superintendent Mona, he took his notebook and walked into the office next door. In the office, a young woman in a black suit was tidying up the desk with her back to the desk. She was slender and graceful, with a long, slightly curly black hair draped over her shoulders, and she exuded a coldness that kept people away from her. Locke immediately understood why Superintendent Mona didn't let Nathan come in to take the statement. This woman was not easy to deal with. He looked around the office. It was very large, and there was luxury and style everywhere. All the furniture was luxury brands. It seemed that Daisy Greenberg should have a high status in Jeff Markey Law Firm. Suddenly, his eyes focused and he found an extraordinary thing on the teak bookshelf by the wall. Locke immediately had a breakthrough and said, "Ms. Greenberg, can we talk to each other alone?" Daisy Greenberg had no expression on her face and looked very cold. She was used to Locke's absent-mindedness. She looked at him indifferently and said in a distant and cold tone, "I'm busy now. Please ask my assistant to make an appointment for the record." Locke's expression froze. He knew that he was teased by Superintendent Mona. He exhaled and became a little impatient. He said again, "Ms. Greenberg, can we talk to each other alone?"